far kind of a seamless transition, coming in, learning the scheme here and kind of fitting in with the staff. So, and now we're having interaction with the players, so it's been pretty smooth.
So long, why was this the right time, the right opportunity for you in Detroit?
You know what? It's funny. I had to sit there and think about it because as long as me and Todd worked together at different spots, we've been together. But sometimes just as a coach, when it's time to, what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to move to keep your skills sharp, if that makes sense, Had a great experience there, but, the opportunity presented itself to come here and familiarity with Dan and Shep and Shea and Correll. It was just and you're kind of talking about a pretty talented team, too. So it was just a really great opportunity.
Speaking of that talent, you're pairing a line with, a premier pass rusher, a former first-round pick in Marcus, second-round pick in Josh, Liam's a top defensive tackle. I mean, when you see that wealth of talent, how compelling is that as you're considering your options around the league?
Well, that had a lot to do with it. It's just a chance, as a coach, as long as I've been in this league, you kind of look for good opportunities and, you walking in with some talented guys and guys you kind of like to work with. And that had something to do with it. Then plus, the culture Coach Campbell's created here. And as a coach, you always want to learn. I got to where I was pretty familiar with Todd's system, the way he does things and everything. It was a great learning experience for me. Not to get the experience the way Dan leads the team and the meetings and everything. It's just a learning for me. I was telling somebody, as long as I've been in this league, you still can learn. When you get to the point where you think you know it all, that's when problems set in. So now I'm just kind of a situation where I'm still learning the way we do things here, the way things, and it's, at the end of the day, it's still football. So, but it's just the way you do it and try to get the results on Sunday.
How's Aidan looking?
Actually, it's really good. Just kind of to see, I'm sitting here just imagining what this guy went through, what he worked on to get back in case they made it to the end last year, and then to see where he is right now is just, this guy is he's a true pro.
Obviously, medical, will determine everything, and I think both Dan and Brad have sort of indicated he'll be back, but how do you anticipate how much work does he need to get back to where he was on the field?
Well, the thing is, once we know for sure where he is and everything, that will dictate itself. But our thing is we'll do everything to make sure he's ready to go week one.
What did you know about Dan from your previous experience with him? And I guess even from a distance here these last few years, what have you seen about what he's built here?
Well, the thing when I remember him as a player is the exact same as I see him as a head coach. Tough, gritty, hard-nosed, blue-collar, just hard-working. And then, we were together in Dallas. I've watched him as a player, the tough, gritty. Then we were together at Miami, and I'm coaching defensive ends, and he was coaching tight ends, so we go against each other every day. So it was just like then in the NFC South going against each other all the time. It's just everything that you saw him as a player, as a position coach, it transferred to him being a head coach. He's the same guy, the way he coaches the players, talks to the players, communicate with the players, communicate with the staff. He's the same guy, only better.
You got all the talent coming back. You've also got a first-round pick from Tyleek joining the fold. Just what do you like about him, and how much of a bonus is that to this situation?
It really is. The thing is, I think after watching the cut-ups and the tape, what they went through last year with so many bodies in and out because of the injury situation, it's just good to see. We can't have enough depth. It just reiterates, they limit the league with 53 guys, but you can never have enough depth and enough quality depth to be able to get Tyleek and mix in with the guys that already, that's could only be a bonus.
You heard Brad about this. How do you feel about the depth that you have at the edge rush position right now? Do you have enough to survive?
Well, the thing is, right now, as we look at them and they running around, I told them I did a couple of drills the other day because I didn't really know them, so I'm trying to get to know them and this and that. But I see a lot of promising guys that will have great opportunity to step in.
Join a new organization, I guess. What are the steps you take to maybe get to know guys as people learn how they learn, things of that nature?
Well, this is really what this time of the year is for, because a lot of those guys have been here since we walked in day one, and the vets came back into the building and just kind of talking. You be some places we all understand right now this is voluntary. But, I'm sitting here I walk in a meeting room with every chair filled. So, it's just like, hey, they don't really have to be here. So my hat hat goes off to them for that, and then just kind of know they trying to learn me, I'm trying to learn them, and I'm coaching the guys that have played in a system longer than I've been coaching it, so they helping me too. So but it's been good so far. So it's like, one, I'm trying to do things and asking them questions. Like, it's easier for me to learn than for them to learn, because nobody's going to hit me on Sunday. So I'm trying to know, I say it this way, but y'all used to say it that way. I can learn it that way. And so it's all about them. At the end of the day, it's about the players. So one, I'm trying to make the transition from me coming in to them as easy as they can. That way they can play as fast as they can.
What are your first impressions of Calvin Shepard and his defense?
I'm sorry?
First impressions of Calvin and his defense.
You know what? Well, it's interesting for me, because I remember coaching Shep as a player, and to see him now running the meetings with the coaches, running the meeting with the player, is just the leaps and bounds. I always thought he was a smart player. To see the growth at him over the years, the way he runs our meetings, the structure of our defense, the way he talks to the player, is just, I'm really impressed. It's just the things, that we built upon, and the things and the openness. And, you kind of coming in and you're sitting down with a team that won 15 games last year. So the thing is, but they're, the eagerness, everybody is still in there trying to learn. Can we do this better? Trying to do that better. That's impressive.
Kacy, one of the defensive ends of the team is expected to be counting on is Marcus Davenport. Just from your early time, what are you expecting from him if he's able to stay healthy all year?
That's the number one thing. And I talked to him about it, because that's the thing is, and I told him, well, matter of fact, the first meeting with him, I got to do everything to help him do that. This guy's a tremendous player. It's just, as you look at his career, it always been, he's this, he's that, then it's Andrew. If we can keep him healthy, I think this guy, this is another guy that stares me in the face every meeting room that doesn't have to be, what I'm saying? He's coming in here, working, and we just got to do what we can to get him through 16, 17 games and see what happens, because we think if he plays 17 plus games, we're going to like the results.
What can you do to help with that? Because a lot of that is just, bad luck.
Well, that's the thing is, it's some of the things he getting hurt is just freaky bad. Like, I'm sitting here watching the first few games before he got hurt, and he was playing dominant. And that, as I said, and sometimes just that's the way the cookie crumbles. But where I can help him, let me take some of them off of this. Let me do that. Maybe you got this. Let somebody else get that, and try to, because this guy's will be a big asset to the defense.
Kelvin is making now to coordinate. What were, I guess, the toughest parts about that for you? And do you have any advice for him as he makes that transition?
You know what? And I told him that joking going to the field, all the questions. You don't realize just as a front coach, boom, you got this question, boom, you got that. But as a coordinator, the front guy wants to do this, but you got to make sure it's okay with the linebacker coach who's going to be tied to the safety coach. And it's constant questions. It's like as a front coach, sometimes you go in your office and you're in your office. As a coordinator, you go in your office and everybody coming to the door. So if they give a slot, well, it is always something. So, and then also you're the one that's standing up here when it don't go well. You know what I'm saying? So it's the thing is just seeing the growth with him. If anybody's ready for it, he is.
How long did it take you to get used to that in New York when that?
You know what? It was really good because of the relationship I had with Todd. I've been with him so long that I kind of knew what he wanted, how he wanted, and we thought alike. So, it's like if he was calling the game, I knew what he was going to call. If I was calling the game, he knew what I was going to call. It didn't really have to be any communication. All 3rd and 8 right here in the midfield, he's calling this.
For Kai Lingo this year once he gets healthy,
Well, that's the thing is, and the cut-ups and the plays that I see, you can't have enough interior rushers. You know what I'm saying? One, you want to keep guys fresh and stuff like that. So having him to mix in with that, it's just funny to see how camps fall out and kind of see what you got. Because every guy, you can go through every guy on this roster, interior-wise, this and that, and I can tell you this, he brings this, he brings that, he's bringing that. The key is going to be how we kind of mold it through at the end.
Going
I
off.
want to ask about Ahmed. After acclimating, learning, getting into the playbook, for you, what's then the next step for him in his development?
Just continue the growth. You're talking about an impressive young man from, I have them introduce themselves and come in. You're talking about a guy been in the States 8 years, come in to learn English and get drafted in the National Football League. That's impressive. You learn hard enough to learn English, then you learn football lingo, stunt, trap, drop. But he's hardworking. He takes a lot of notes and asks good questions and very energetic. He's like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, can't wait to get here. So, so far it's been really positive.
Coach, you've seen teams build to a title, to a championship. What do you see in this building this time of year that shows you the hunger, the application, the commitment to getting to that ultimate goal?
You just said the same words I would have said. You know, when I saw the temp, I saw the same kind of things here. It's off season and everybody's here. So that's the same thing, you know, you're hungry because a lot of teams, you know, like we said, it's voluntary. But people are here because they want to be here and they know it's right there. And you kind of got to taste it last year, this and that. So now when you see that, you know, you got all the players buying in to one cause. That's the key to winning. Everybody buying in and try to stay healthy. You know, that's the key in this league.
You mentioned you like the depth a lot, but in your room you have players of kind of all experience levels for young guys, older guys. What do you like about the composition of that room and how they can maybe help each other grow?
Really good because you got some really, really true vets because I'm coming in, I'm trying to figure out who the leaders of the room, but then you got Hutch there, you got DJ Reader, you got Davenport, you got McNeil played a lot of it. You got several guys that played a lot of football. You got forgetting about Levi. You see what I'm saying? You got a lot of guys in that room. You got a good level of vet guys and you got a good stuff of long, energetic guys. So the mix there is perfect, I really think.
You've got a lot of experience. You've got a lot of versatility in that room. Guys that can play a lot of different alignments inside and out. With your coaching philosophy, how do you view the value of versatility with your group?
We need a lot of versatility because one, we want to try to be as disruptive as we can be up front. So we want to be able to slug it out when we need to slug it out, shake and bake when we need to shake and bake, and we ain't opposed to dropping big guys too. So we got to be able to do it all. So we like that.
Whenever struck you as a guy that could one day become a coordinator when you had him as a player?
Yeah, well, I would say yes. And when I think about it, then when you see the progression and you just see, it was about time. You knew it was time, and just the different coaches you've been around, from players to coaches, you see the growth. You know, you like, right now he's ready for the next step. And so far in all our meetings with the coaches, so far the offseason, then when the players came in, you know, he hadn't missed a beat. The way he lead the meetings with confidence and the players buy in and they believe in him, I think, his time was now.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.